Okay, good afternoon. This is my quick video on how to use our walk-up scan stations here at the Emory Law Library. And just so you know, when you first walk in, there's our circulation desk and our reference desk. So there's plenty of help if people have questions about how to use the machines. The scan stations are located here behind our reference desk. And I'm going to go in and actually do a little demonstration for you, but I'm going to do something weird. I'm going to turn off the lights to cut down on the glare. So, okay. But we adjust. So here are the scan stations. You can see that they come in metal cases, which you need to assemble once you get them. These charging station units are separate, and they were rented from a completely different vendor, but they're pretty easy to set up and install. You can see that there is a scanning bed which is large enough for a map or a newspaper. The camera lives up top in this encased housing that's all made out of steel so people can't get to it or touch it, and they really don't ever need to. There's the interactive touch screen for people to use, and you can see that the major buttons are enormous. They're bigger than your hand. And then there is a display screen so that people can see what they're actually getting when they do their work. I'm just going to come around back here for a sec. So you can see that the back of this machine actually locks up. So once you install the computer, the CPU, you keep the peripherals in a separate location, but you can lock it up so that people aren't stealing your cords or trying to mess with it, because I'm sure that it would be fascinating for many folks. Okay, so let's talk about scanning things. Here we have a newspaper that we're going to go ahead and scan. Now, if there's anything that I would say is one feature that this machine doesn't have that I would love, would be some kind of glass pull-down mechanism to flatten and hold in place the material that you're scanning, because otherwise it's a little awkward if you, for whatever reason, if you have a book that doesn't open really well and you need to hold it open with both hands, getting to touch the scan key can be difficult. Although the vendor does, if you want to, you can order a foot pedal, which will somewhat alleviate that. So here I am. I'm going to flatten out my material that I want to scan. And you come over here, and basically you can just go ahead and get started and scan right away without having to mess with any of the defaults. Now, those are things that you set when you go ahead and set this machine up. We have ours set up for grayscale, for medium resolution for file size reasons. We left it right in the middle on sharpness, smoothness, lightness, darkness. We recommend that people usually do single image because that's sort of the easiest and clearest way to go ahead and get what you need. And we set searchable PDF to be our default because we wanted people to have the most usable file on the other side. Although you can do other things. You can just make JPEGs, say you were doing art books. You can actually set it to do a text file, which is where it will do an OCR of whatever it is that you've got, and then it will produce you an editable text file, which works pretty well most of the time. I would say that the only major downfall on that is that if you have a lot of formatting or footnotes, it doesn't know how to handle those, and it tends to just stack everything in the order it finds it. And any funkiness of font will definitely throw it. So let's go ahead and say, I want to scan. I press my gigantic scan button, and here I get a copyright disclaimer, just like you would have on the wall next to your traditional photocopier, which everybody ignores anyway, so I'm going to accept that. Okay, and now you can tell that my machine is taking a picture. Basically, that noise you hear is the camera taking a picture of the item in question, and then your preview of your PDF shows there up top. Now, like I said, this is set for grayscale. Let's say that I cared and really needed it in color. So I go, oh, well, I'm going to change that. I'm going to make it color, and I'm going to scan it again. Now at this point I'm not being charged for any of the work that's being done because I have this machine set up not to charge you until you actually send or save what it is you're doing. And there I have the exact same document, only now it's in color. Okay, let's say that I was happy with that. I didn't want to do any other edits to it, so I'm going to go ahead and save or send. Now at this point it gives you the option to use a USB drive or email it to yourself. So let's say I'm going to email it to myself, although if you wanted to use a USB drive, there's a port right there, and I marked it for people to see more easily. So at this point, say email. I'm going to enter a fake email address, but you can see it gives you this very nice QWERTY keyboard that looks just like you would expect. It has an add button over to the side. Okay, and it will reject any email address that you put in that doesn't follow the basic conventions. It has to have the @ sign, it has to have a .com or .edu or .org, whatever. And then you say, okay. Now the next thing that you're going to see is that it's not doing anything. You need to press email to again. The first time you hit this button here on the right, it's asking you how you want to do it. The second time it's actually saying, are you ready? So you do, and this is the machine going ahead and formatting what you've gathered and attaching it to an email, which it's going to go ahead and send. The more files you have on here, obviously, the longer this will take. Okay, at this point now, because I have a charging mechanism set up that will ask you for money at the time of saving or emailing, you get this message that says insert coins or bills. And you do, and it works pretty well. Or in this case, I'm going to say cancel, and then you get this message saying operation was canceled by user. You can also set timeout defaults and stuff like that, so if somebody doesn't do anything within 30 seconds, the job will cancel. Now, even though I've opted not to send these because I realized, oh, I don't have any cash or whatever, or I didn't want all of these, the machine will still hang on to my jobs for a preset period of time that you can define when you set them up. And you can see too, see I've made 2 scans here, and you get this little thumbnail tray. And this will show you all of the work that you've done. And at this point, since you don't have to pay for anything until you actually send it, what you can do is you can go through and you can take a look at your different jobs and go, oh, you know, that one looks really bad. I'm going to get rid of it. So over here next to the thumbnail tray, you've got edit current image, delete current image. I don't want that one. Or you can delete all images. Deleting all images is somewhat like the reset button, except in that it keeps your settings that you've already put in, so you don't have to retype your email address. One place where I've seen people have problems with this is they think that it's like a traditional photocopier, and so what they do is they will scan the first 5 pages and send that to themselves, and then they scan the next 5 pages, and they send that too without deleting the first 5 that they've already sent. And so then they'll come out to the desk and ask, how come the second 5 pages cost twice as much as the first 5 pages? Which is obviously not what's really going on. They're just sort of still stuck in the mode of using a traditional photocopier. Basically, once you're all done, you just hit the reset button, and you get this warning. Are you sure you want to end your session? All images will be deleted. Yes. And there you have it. So if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to give me a call or email me. Thanks a lot.